Nothing will stand in our way. I'll show them the dark side.
I don't know your name.
Finn, what's yours?
I'm Ray.
You might need this.
All right, we'll stop it there. So you can hear it now, right? The na 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 na. I mean, it's very distinct, you know, and there were several different layers to it there. There was one really cool shot where the TIE fighter, the First Order TIE fighter, is escaping from the hangar of the Star Destroyer. And again, it's just an extension, a little bit more from what we've already seen of that battle inside the hangar. But we've seen it get hit. The TIE fighter get hit in the full trailer, and it goes tumbling down to Jakku. You heard Han Solo there, and at that point in the TV spot, he hands Rey a blaster, and we assume it's before they're heading into Maz Kanata's castle. So if I back it up just a little bit, we can play that for you again here.
I'm Ray.
You might need this.
And that is just so typical Han Solo. You might need this, and you can just see sort of the look on Rey's face. One more thing I want to point out in this, just as a quick aside, and the moment where they do the introductions between Finn and Rey, the way that Rey says, "My name is Rey," it's just, I can't wait to see this actress in the movie. I mean, for me personally, I gotta say it quietly because I think the family's listening, but I could see it in my 13-year-old's eyes too. The way that she says, "I'm Rey," it's one of those, it's like those male flutter moments, right? So, he asks, she asks, "What's your name?" He's like, "I'm Finn." And then when she says, "I'm Rey," she's got this little smile on her face, and it's so endearing.
What's yours?
I'm Ray.
You might need this.
The thing again about J.J. Abrams and his movies, man, and this is already ringing true when it comes to these teasers, these TV spots, and these trailers. He doesn't waste a single shot. I mean, every single shot is so carefully crafted, and I'll keep saying that about his movies. His movies are so watchable and rewatchable because of the way that he films. I mean, and again, you apply that to a Star Wars movie, and it's a perfect combination. All right, so before we get to some more of this audio, we'll go to the behind the scenes footage, and then I'll play you the audio from the most recently released trailer. Let me cover some of the items that were in the Entertainment Weekly article and some of the things that came out this week. And we'll just start off with the fact that the final edit of the movie is complete. According to reports, The Force Awakens has a runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes. And that makes it pretty long. I mean, it's up there with, I believe that makes it the second longest Star Wars movie, maybe the third. I know that the Phantom Menace clocks in at just a little bit over, just a skosh over 2 hours. I think Attack of the Clones is the longest, if not Revenge of the Sith. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and, since we're talking about it. Okay, so I looked up the runtimes of the movies, and this would put it on par with most of the other ones. So, The Phantom Menace was 136 minutes, Clones was 142, Sith was 140, and then A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back are two that clock in at the shortest, at 125 minutes in the special edition for A New Hope, 127 minutes special edition for Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi clocks in at 135 minutes, and it looks like Star Wars The Force Awakens clocks in at just about exactly the same time at 135 minutes. So when you consider, 5 to 10 minutes for for credits, because usually they include that. That puts it pretty standard, and I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I mean, look, I didn't make the movie. I'm not really that worried about it as long as it's not 90 minutes. I'm okay with that. So you're looking at 2 hours and 15 minutes of new Star Wars brilliance. How's that for you? All right, some items out of the Entertainment Weekly that came out last week. A couple of scoops got confirmed. One of them was some rumors that Rey on Jakku pretty much spent her time looking for food and water. And that was confirmed. It sounds like when Finn ends up on Jakku, he takes Rey's water, and that's how they initially come into contact. And it might be how there's an action figure, and actually a photo of him was released today, Constable Zuvio, and it sounds like he's sort of the lawman, if there can be one, on Jakku. And maybe that might be how Constable Zuvio plays into the beginning part of the film. Maybe Rey seeks him out because Finn was trying to steal some water, perhaps. Although it sounds like in fairly short order, things, get out of hand on Jakku, and they don't even end up getting introduced to each other until they end up on the Falcon. One of the reports that I was waiting for was with the most anticipation was Starkiller Base and General Hux. I like the technology of Star Wars movies. I love vehicles, the Death Star. And this idea of Starkiller Base just seems awesome to me. Is it a planet? Is it another Death Star, and it ended up with its own weather pattern because it's so big? We didn't get that confirmed, but it was confirmed that what you see on the official poster is indeed Starkiller Base. J.J. Abrams did say it was the next iteration of the Death Star, essentially taking it to the next level. Now, Starkiller Base might not just blow up planets, though. Maybe stars and suns. It may be able to trigger an event and become a destroyer of entire solar systems. And so, again, if it's built into the planet, then obviously you are subjected to the rotation of the natural rotation of that planet. So I kind of like the idea that it actually was a planet-sized battle station that was made, then ended up, because it was so big, it ended up with its own climate. Or they created its own climate. I like that concept. What we're hearing about the First Order is that these guys are arrogant and brutal. And that they're taking what the Empire did to another level. So it makes sense, and J.J. Abrams said as much in the article, that these guys are trying to complete what the Empire did. And so in doing that, they got a Death Star, but man, theirs is to the nth degree. They got TIE fighters, but we've done, A, B, and C with them to beef them up a little bit, right? We've got stormtroopers, but these guys actually know how to shoot. You get the idea. In the article, it also said that General Hux, played by Domhnall Gleeson, is essentially he and Kylo Ren are frenemies. And I actually got ahead of myself here. Let me back up here a little bit. So essentially, Kylo Ren and Hux are frenemies. And the First Order operates like a mafia. You kill your way to the top. And so it may seem, and I alluded to this in some previous podcasts, that perhaps General Hux and Kylo Ren are on kind of two different missions. Kylo may be trying to bring about the dark side, and you heard him say, I will show you the dark side in that trailer. And we'll talk a little, there's quite a bit about Snoke that was released in here, Supreme Leader Snoke. And that perhaps General Hux is more of a Tarkin type, where he just wants dominance of the universe, and that would make sense if you're following the same, tonally speaking, of the original movies. It's not really all that dissimilar from Tarkin and Vader in A New Hope, although they didn't seem like they were frenemies. Tarkin seemed like he had more control over Darth Vader in A New Hope. So let me get back to the Starkiller base. There's a couple other things here that I didn't read yet. So J.J. Abrams again confirms that Starkiller base is another Death Star, but much more powerful and different than the previous ones seen in the original trilogy. It is very much, and is acknowledged as such in the movie, apparently another Death Star. But what it's capable of and how it works and what the threat is far greater than what the Death Star could have done. A Starkiller base is another step forward, technologically speaking, in terms of power. Now, a couple of items, and then we'll get back to some more audio here. A couple of items about Kylo Ren. The article featured some interesting tidbits, including Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren. He's not Luke Skywalker, by the way. People keep saying that, and they need to let it go. There was a photo released by Entertainment Weekly, and it's the scene right before Kylo Ren and Finn end up going at it with the lightsabers. Kylo Ren's helmet is clearly off, and you can see it in this photo. He's got the long black hair. And what's interesting about the photo is that Rey is now standing next to Finn before Finn battles Kylo. So you got to assume that Kylo Ren must dispatch her pretty quickly and then goes after Finn. But he's hinting that Kylo Ren's motivations, like every villain, he has an internal battle. Really, it's just because someone wasn't loved enough or felt betrayed. And again, man, this leans back towards just more, in my opinion, confirmation that he is Han and Leia's kid. Now, the one thing that everybody was waiting for was information on Supreme Leader Snoke. We know that Andy Serkis, who played Gollum in Lord of the Rings and Caesar in Planet of the Apes, is doing motion capture for Supreme Leader Snoke, but we still don't know what he looks like. Entertainment Weekly did cover a few items without giving much away, certainly not showing a picture. Snoke is an ancient, possibly immobile character. The distinctive face structure of how Snoke looks was such that they weren't able to do it, and they wouldn't be able to do it with prosthetics. He's possibly decaying, dying. He's certainly a very old character. His thirst for power and control stem from his inability to control and conquer physically. Right, his vulnerability belies his true agenda. It sounds like he's a very large character. Andy Serkis said that his size, he was very big. I don't think in terms of like Jabba the Hutt big, but I think he's perhaps tall or just a large, imposing figure. In the article, it also talks about his motivations. Something was done to him. Maybe he was seriously injured. He has a huge agenda, and he suffered a lot of damage. Snoke has a secret plan that's been in the works since before the Galactic Civil War, and that was just some of the speculation taken away from this. So there was talk a long time ago that there was a character in the background of all these movies that was sort of pulling the strings, or perhaps waiting for the time to strike. And maybe he was sympathetic to the Sith Order and was sort of watching from afar to see what Palpatine was able to accomplish, and waiting for his opportunity as just to come into the galaxy and make it his own. And he's taken that opportunity. Perhaps the Knights of Ren, also being ancient, were sort of in the background of the galaxy, in the background of this battle taking place. For the galaxy when the Sith were trying to take over and the Empire was ruling. So again, that was a rumor from a long time ago that there was a character in the background that was maybe not pulling the strings, but maybe was just watching from afar. And when you compare it to sort of real world, geopolitical items, it makes sense that there would be another imposing figure somewhere wanting to take control, but just not making a move because it wasn't advantageous for them to do so. One more item of note, and then we'll run through a little bit more of this audio. Maz Kanata. Maz Kanata was also profiled in this Entertainment Weekly article, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but her eyes have power. That was certainly in the behind the scenes or the TV spot that we covered last week at length, and in that she can not so sure she's force